At the annual spring kickoff of the Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition in Clive on Saturday, a number of Republican presidential candidates for 2024 and those who are still considering a run for the office presented their platforms to a large number of Christian conservatives. In Iowa, which will host the first Republican primary next February, the back-to-back candidate forums gave speakers the chance to win over a crucial voting bloc. GOP politicians continued to stake out their own positions on abortion, which brought the subject to the forefront. The event on Saturday took place a day after the Supreme Court suspended an appeals court decision to limit access to the commonly used abortion drug mifepristone, while legal disputes over the FDA's approval of the medication are resolved. Former Vice President Mike Pence, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, and other Republicans emphasized the value of school choice, their support for restrictions on access to abortion, and their opposition to transgender rights. Less well-known presidential candidates Vivek Ramaswamy, Perry Johnson, and Larry Elder all spoke on Saturday. Donald Trump, a former president, spoke to the audience virtually. Highlights from the forum are listed below. Trump defended his stance on restrictions by focusing on his judicial appointments while in office, including successfully nominating 3 Supreme Court justices who all assisted in overturning the Roe v. Wade decision last year. Trump faced criticism from some abortion opponents over his position that abortion access should be decided at the state level. Nobody believed it would occur, they believed it would take another 50 years. Trump made the pre-recorded statement because Republicans had been trying to accomplish it for that long. I appointed over 300 judges to bolster the federal bench with defenders of the Constitution who uphold the letter and spirit of the law. In order to confirm Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett as justices of the Supreme Court, I overcame vile criticism, the president claimed. While criticizing the U.S. Department of Education, he pledged to stand in defense of life and, if re-elected, to work to limit transgender rights, which conservatives claim harm society and are fiercely opposed by LGBTQ activists. We will uphold the Judeo-Christian principles that guided the founding of our country. We'll defend our traditions and heritage, he vowed. Following the Supreme Court's ruling on mifepristone on Friday, Vice President Mike Pence called for the justices to outlaw chemical abortions and refer to the FDA-approved drug as a dangerous medication, despite the fact that medical professionals and the U.S. government say it is secure. After his speech, Pence told ABC News, "I think that chemical abortions, mail-order abortions that the Biden administration has now allowed, should be banned. Although I do think it's more likely that this issue is resolved at the state level," he said. He disagreed with Trump's assertion that abortion is a state-level issue and broke with the former president, his former boss. According to Pence, life in this country has a new beginning. I believe we have a chance to strengthen the value of human life. Numerous states are involved in a legal dispute over an abortion pill. Hutchinson, Asa, the most recent governor of Arkansas, Hutchinson, focused on faith in his speech and argued that our leadership in the public arena should reflect ours as well. He emphasized his opposition to abortion while speaking to Iowans, as have others. As governor, I took pride in the fact that our state was the most pro-life. Over the course of my 8 years as governor, I signed 30 pro-life bills, he claimed. When asked about his top priorities as president, Hutchinson spoke of supporting parental rights and banning wokeness in schools, which Republicans claim is a left-wing movement that incorrectly emphasizes identity politics. The parent involvement in our schools is the most crucial way to fight back, he claimed. Scott talked about the value of life, not just in terms of abortion, but also in terms of his perception of racial American exceptionalism. Americans who will not yet be born bear the primary responsibility for safeguarding the future of this country, not for ourselves. I would simply say, and this has been a major part of my persona on the political stage, that the lies of the left have been disproved by my life. While the radical left are selling a drug of victimhood, according to Scott, he argued that anyone can succeed in whatever they put their mind to, regardless of their race or upbringing. In order to convince them that America is the most liberated and just country in world history, Scott said, we have to tell them the whole story, the story of truth and redemption. I'll say this: everything is possible with a praying mama. The entrepreneur Ramaswamy also spoke about race during his remarks, saying that if elected, he would abolish affirmative action and the U.S. Department of Education. What does it mean to be an American, exactly? It indicates that you uphold the principles that launched this nation, the speaker continued. Before speaking, Ramaswamy told ABC News that he was unapologetically pro-life in response to a question regarding the legal disputes involving the availability of mifepristone. We need to constrain the administrative state because its reach has become far too great, he said. On Saturday, popular commentator Elder and businessman Johnson, both of whom recently declared their own unlikely presidential campaigns, also spoke. I ran for office because I believed I had a responsibility, a moral and religious responsibility. Elder, who unsuccessfully ran against California Governor Gavin Newsom in a recall election in 2021, lamented that our family, our country, is moving away from the Judeo-Christian values that founded this country. Before criticizing Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's decision to repeal the state's abortion ban, Johnson began his remarks by claiming that he was probably too conservative for the Iowa group. He declared, "I say let's stop all this and go on the offensive on the matter." Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who was present at the Utah GOP state convention on Saturday, was one prominent politician who was absent from Iowa. Many Iowans who attended the event on Saturday told ABC News that they were still largely undecided about which candidate to support, highlighting the value of forums before the 2024 nomination process. "I love my job and we take it seriously. And we have lived in Iowa for a very long time," George Wood, a retired businessman, stated, "and we go out and see the candidates. You pay attention and inquire. You can only do that here and nowhere else in the nation," he said. Former school nurse Becky McKibben admitted she was not yet 100% certain of her decision. She stated, "I believe it is important to hear what other people have to say, hear many different ideas, and what their thoughts are on what they see as the vision for our country." Others claim to already have their preferred candidate in mind, and were taking advantage of every opportunity to hear them speak. IT worker Juanita Blonigan said, "I want Trump to be president again. I want that, sir. But I'm not sure if the government will permit that." Blonigan described herself as frustrated and annoyed over Trump's recent indictment in New York for making hush money payments, but her support for the former president has only grown since his recent court appearance, where he pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records. "You know, I'm hoping that people will turn around and make America great once more, whatever it takes," she said.